अवदक्षिण
अवचोर्वातात् अवाधयातात् सर्वतो मां पाहि पाहि समन्तात् त्वं वाङ्मयस्त्वं चिन्मयः त्वमानन्दमयस्त्वं ब्रह्ममयः त्वं सच्चिदानन्दाद्वितीयोऽसि त्वं प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वं ज्ञानमयो विज्ञानमयोऽसि सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तो जायते सर्वं जगदिदं त्वत्तस्तिष्ठति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि लयनेष्यति सर्वं जगदिदं त्वयि प्रत्येति त्वं भूमिरापो नलो निलो नभः त्वं चत्वारि वाक्पदानि त्वं गुणत्रयातीतः त्वम् अवस्थात्रयातीतः त्वं देहत्रयातीतः त्वं कालत्रयातीतः त्वं मूलाधारं ब्रह्मास्त्वं विष्णुस्त्वं रुद्रस्त्वमिन्द्रस्त्वमग्निस्त्वं वायुस्त्वं सूर्यस्त्वं चन्द्रमास्त्वं ब्रह्मभूर्भुवस्सुवरो गणादीं पूर्वमुच्चार्य वर्णादीं तदनन्तरम् अनुस्वारः परतरः अर्धेन्दुरसितम् तारेण रुद्धम् एतत्तमनुस्वरूपम् गकारपूर्वरूपम् अकारो मध्यमरूपम् अनुस्वारश्चान्त्यरूपम् बिन्दुरुत्तररूपम् नादसन्धानम् सदुङ्गिता सन्धि सैषा गणेशविद्या गणकऋषिः निजगायत्री छन्दः गणपतिर्देवता ॐ गणपते नमः वीरदन्ताय विद्महे वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि तन्नो दन्तिः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्सा बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि अजेनो परिदेमसि उषासि उषामान् यतशाय भविष्यसि मा इस्राएल Adonai Eloheinu Adonai thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarva Prachodayat. Om Saishwaraya Vidmahe Sathya Devaya Dhimahi Tannah Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
महागणपतिं महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि 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 वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेवादिवन्दित महागणपतिं महादेवसुता महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटिप्रकाशं शान्तं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवानमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूषिकवानमोदकप्रियं पापमगमरि सरि सरि सपमगमप नरि सरि गममरि सरि सरि पम पापमगमरि सरि सरि सपमगमप नरि सरि गममरि सरि सरि पम सनि पमगमरि पमगम पममरि रिस सनि नि पमरि सरि गम सनि पमगमरि पमगम पममरि सरि स सनि नि पमरि सरि गम महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि वसिष्ठवामदेव वन्दित महागणपतिं
गिरिराजसुततनया सदया गिरिराजसुततनया सदया गिरिराजसुततनया सदया गिरिराजसुततनया सुरनागमुखाचितपादयुगा सुरनागमुखा
वाजे मृदंग ताल वीणा गिरी नाचत गौरी गणा वाजे मृदंग ताल वीणा गिरी नाचत गौरी गणा
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
नाच नाच रे गजानना वाजे मृदंग वीणा गिरी नाचत गौरी गणा वाजे मृदंग ताल वीणा गिरी नाचत गौरी गणा पाई बांधून घुंगुरवाला हे ही ठुमकट तोलडीवाला पाई बांधून घुंगुरवाला हे ही ठुमकट तोलडीवाला जना हावडे तव हरगाला जना हावडे तव हरगाला देही आनंद गौरीवाला देही आनंद गौरीवाला लुटुलुटेरे शिव सुरावे हाला
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
नाच नाच रे गजानना तुझा चिंतने जमणे सारी तुझा चिंतने जमणे सारी तुझा चिंतने जमणे सारी तुझा चिंतने जमणे सारी खाली आले न भातील तारे खाली आले न भातील तारे नाचे चैतन्य अवघे वारी पण फुलात भरला सितूरी कर्पूर गौरा कर्पूर गौरा कर्पूर गौरा जगदोधारा जणी भल्लारा गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
नाच नाच रे गजानना
सुख करता दुख हरता वाता विघ्नाची पूर्वी पूर्वी प्रेम कृपा जयाची सर्वांगी सुंदर उटी शेंदुराची कंठी झळके माळा मुक्ता फळाची जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव जय मंगलमूर्ती दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ती जय देव जय देव जय देव जय देव
देवाच्या देव घरा आदिनाथ तो मंगळकारा तू देवाच्या देव घरा आदिनाथ तो मंगळकारा देई कृपेच्या अमृतधारा देई कृपेच्या अमृतधारा तारी विश्वाचा सर्व पसारा तारी विश्वाचा सर्व पसारा ये विघ्नेशा ये जगदीशा ये विघ्नेशा ये जगदीशा ये धनी परमेशा
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
नाच नाच रे गजानना वाजे मृदंग ताल वीणा रे नाचत गौरी गणा वाजे मृदंग ताल वीणा रे नाचत गौरी गणा
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ति मोरया
गणपति
गणपति बाप्पा मोरया गणपति बाप्पा बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ती मोरया गणपति बाप्पा मोरया मंगलमूर्ती मोरया शांति शांति शांति
Om Shri Sai Ram. Ganesh Chaturthi greetings to everybody. I offer myself at the lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri Sathya Sai Baba. On this very happy occasion, we're blessed to have a wonderful talk by a guest speaker who is not really a guest. He is one of our own, Fabrizio Uncle, brother Fabrizio Tinti, as known to all of you. Uncle is from Italy and was literally taken to Swami's presence in 1993 by a few of his friends who claimed that Swami is God. And so they took him in 1993 to Bangalore Whitefield. And since then, his life has had a complete 180-degree turnaround. And his connection with Swami has not only strengthened him, but as a born Catholic, has increased and strengthened his connection with Jesus Christ. Fabrizio Uncle also has a very special place in his heart for Lord Ganesha, and so it is very appropriate that we celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi by hearing a few words of wisdom from our very own Fabrizio Uncle, who is part of our study circle team. His study circles are very engaging. We all enjoy them so much. And so after a long wait, I know we were going to arrange a talk by him back in February, but due to some unforeseen circumstances that did not happen. And so without taking much more time, I would like to welcome Fabrizio Uncle to share his thoughts with us on this happy occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. Jai Sai Ram.
Purushaya vidmae vakratundaya dhimai tanno dante prachodayate. Om Tappurushaya vidmae vakratundaya dhimai tanno dante prachodayate. Om Tappurushaya vidmae vakratundaya dhimai tanno dante prachodayate. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. O Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, Shri Prashanti Sai, Bhuttatma Dharmatma, Shri Mantriyamsa, Sathya Sai, Mama Prarthana, Utishta Soka Sankata, Dukha Nimara, Makrupa Kadasha, Paimam, Paimam, Pai. Om Saram. I offer my humble pranams and my dearest guest, my dearest friend, Sathya Sai Baba. Honorable guest, respected elders, sister and brother in Sai, Sai Ram. I don't know what you are expecting to listen from me, nothing that you don't know, nothing of wisdom at all. What I'm gonna talk is just few words that you know, when I have been said that when I was told that I had to give a talk, I was really puzzled and asked Swami what should I say, and then Swami said, well, you know, you're in a family, so just talk as if you would be like with your own, blood. And so, and Swami said, what is important for you to say is, where are you coming from? Know who you are, because you don't know who you are, right? So don't expect that I'm telling you who I am, because that's one of the questions that is still in my mind, who am I? That's, if I would know that, I would not be here. But born and raised Catholic in Bologna, Italy, 53 years ago, from a family, especially my mom was really involved in the Catholic Church. She was actually doing catechism, which is equal to SSC, right? And actually, in February, when my mom unfortunately passed, and we had the funeral, we didn't say anything to anybody, and it was so cold. It was, I believe, 10 below zero, and it was snowing, and there were like more than 100 people showing up, and many of them were some of our students, and they were really, remembering her with a lot of love. So my family again was, especially my mom, she was always taking me to church, and so I've been a clergy, like the little guy that is serving mass with the priest, since that I was, I believe, 4 to 5 years old, and I've done that until that I was maybe 12 years old. And at a certain point, I knew the mass, whether it was Easter, Christmas, I knew the mass by heart. So you don't need have to tell me, sometimes I even correct the priest. I remember that one time we were in an occasion in a funeral, and I said, well, what'd you say? And the priest was like, shh, shh, because he was saying something was wrong, right? And so, because, the Catholic priest, with the excuse that they are, using the blood of Christ, they drink a lot of, and so sometimes, you have priests that they kind of, and that was the case with the priest, he was famous to be, somebody that before to go to mass, he was actually drinking more blood of God. So anyway, so I, and like I said, I always going to church, and my mom always told me to love God, to love Jesus Christ, and then I was always going at the parish. So I was in the soccer team of the parish, and I was very involved in save activities, and at a certain point of my life, though, I start hanging out with the wrong crowd, so especially around 11, 12 years old, I always been having friends, older than me, but, around 11, 12 years old, I started getting out with people that were like about 16, 17 years old, so much, older than me. And they were smoking, they were drinking, they were using drugs. And of course, as you do what, Swami said, tell me with whom you go, and I'll tell you who you are, right? And you become the person that you are dealing, the person that you accompany yourself to, you're gonna go on the same path. So that caused my a big change in my character, a big change in my attitude. I completely just, having a lot of fight with my parents. I didn't want to go to church anymore. I didn't want to, my God was money, drugs, and other things, right? And this was, pretty much for a long time. As a matter of fact, when I was maybe 19, so I went to serve the military. When I came back, I left my home. I just went to live on by myself. And the only relationship that I had with my family was pretty much just when I had to do laundry. So I was going to my mom and I said, well, this is my laundry, do my laundry. And they didn't really know anything about me, And so all that I was concerned is to have a lot of money in my pocket, to be respected, to have women. I thought that, the reason for me to be in this world was just to have, to be recognized, to have the people, say, oh, look at the car, and oh, look at the woman. And this was going on and on and on. And unfortunately, when you go on that path, it's like an avalanche. And it's something that is even happening without you getting realized, without you be aware of this. You know, you are on the verge of a cliff, and you are actually, you know, walking on a little, you know, on a little hedge, and you don't know that, you know, you're very fine, you're very close to slip, but you are just considering yourself fine, and, you know, everything is just, you're popular, everybody is talking about you, and everybody is listening to you, and so you think that you worth something, you know, and it's something which is totally exterior. So to come to Swami, so at a certain point of my life, going on and on and on these things, and, you know, what happened is more money you have, more money you want, more drug you do, more drug you want, because when you do drugs, you know, at a certain point, 2 joint, 3 joint, 20 joint, 50 joint, and cocaine, and this, and that, and it's never over, you know, and then 1 bottle, 2 bottle, 3 bottle, 4 bottle, and then you become a bottle, you know. Swami, this is what he says, you know. And so at the end of the day, you know, you develop a lot of bad habits, but most importantly, you are destroying yourself. So you are the worst enemy of yourself. So you are not take responsibility of your action. You're not finding the problem within you. There is always somebody else that is to be blamed for whatever is happening to you, right? And also the other side of the coin is that you develop a great deal of depressions, because the high that you get using drugs or using alcohol or doing, you know, like any type of diversion that is not sattvic, that is not pure, has a payback. So the payback is that when everything is over, you are, you know, dropping from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the hell. And the jump, the fall is so abrupt that you don't want to be normal. You always need to be high, because you cannot bear this kind of depression, right? So I was in this time, and like I said, you know, first time that I saw Swami's face was, I remember very well, 1990. We were in Mexico, in an island called Cozumel, which is about 35 miles southeast of Cancun. And I was in the house of this friend of mine from Bologna, people that I know forever. And I end up to go to the bathroom, and while I was, you know, to go to the bathroom, I had to pass by the bedroom. And when I was about to get into the bathroom, I stared to the nightstand of the bedroom, and I see a photo with this man with a huge afro. I said, who is this guy? I look, and I went to the bathroom. I went back, and I said, who is this crazy guy that you have in that book there, right? And they told me, well, it's Jesus Christ incarnated. I said, excuse me? Yeah, it's Jesus Christ incarnated. He lives in India. I said, okay, good night. You know, I mean, I thought that I was drunk, but, you know, I mean, after that you tell me, no, for real. Okay, you know, don't talk about God to me. Leave me alone. And it was done, right? Then 2 years later, they came back from Mexico, and one of them called me up and he said, well, we go to India. I said, God bless you. Happy for you. No, you're coming with us. I said, well, I don't think so. In the nasty place, all poor people. No, I don't think so. No, you're coming with us. I said, no, I don't think so. And he go on. These things went on for like about a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and they were calling me. I said, no, I don't care. And then one day, the same friend called me and said, well, you know, this is the deal. We are going to pay everything for you. I said, excuse me? Yeah. We are going to pay everything for you. Trip, staying, everything. Really? Yeah. Come to my office and we discuss all the details. I said, okay. So I went to the office and I said, look, I'm coming only to one condition. And he said, okay, what is the condition? You pay for everything, right? Yes. But I'm not going to stay with that crazy guy more than 5 days. No, but if you want me to come with you, we are going to stay. So we had 20 days, right? A ticket of 20 days. So I said, 5 days with your crazy guy, and then the rest we go to Goa, do some drugs, you know, and some party. And says, but I said, this is the deal. If I if you want me to come with you, 5 days with Baba, and the rest doing party and drugs and everything. And I said, okay. So we left. We got in Delhi. We got in Mumbai. It was like 1:30 in the morning. We had to wait for the connection of the flight that was leaving at 6:15 to Bangalore. At that time, there was a very small airport in Bangalore, and the airport was on the way to Whitefield. We didn't know anything about. I mean, they knew because the book, by the way, in which I saw the Swami's photo was The Man of Miracle, right? So, which is one of the most famous books on Baba. And not me, not even them have ever been in Puttaparthi or ever been in India. We didn't speak a single word of English, and we didn't know anything about Swami or anything about, whatever. They only read one book, and we were expecting to get in India and then have to travel to Puttaparthi. And so when we get there, I will never forget the shock. I got to this airport, and people, these tuk-tuk people, rickshaw people coming and grabbing the bags, and I was so, I was about to fight, and I was like, leave my bag alone. No, come, Baba here. So no, Puttaparthi, no, Baba here. So finally, there was some Italian that also were going, and they told us, no, Swami is not in Puttaparthi. Today is a very special day. It was March 23rd, 1993. It was Yugadi. So it's the New Year's of Kerala and Kannada and Telugu people. So Swami is here, and he's only 12 miles away. Okay. So we left the airport, we got in a tuk-tuk, and I will never forget that 2-hour journey. So to do 12 miles, it took 2 hours to get to this ashram. It was so hot, it was so dusty, and there were lack of people going back to Bangalore because Swami had been giving a discourse, being Yugadi. And so when we came, it was already time for him. He was coming out around 7:15. The discourse was around 8 o'clock. So we arrived there that it was about 9:15, 9:20. So it was already time for them. So the darshan was already over and people were going back to Bangalore, and being very close, is like about 20-30 minutes journey. Of course, back in the days, the road was only one lane. There was no pavimentation, so it was dust. It was a white road. And so, and all these people, be, I was going crazy. So, oh man, I'm gonna go back. No, I can't stand. No, calm down. My friend was like, calm down. So we finally got to the ashram, and we went inside, and we were asking if there was an accommodation, and they said, well, you're lucky. We have just one last room. And I said, oh God, man. And I was dreaming, so I'm very tired, so I'm going to the bed. And they said, over there you can buy the bucket, you can buy the mosquito nets, you have to buy your cloth, and you have to sleep on the floor. I said, excuse me? Yeah, you have to go there, you buy your bucket, you buy your mosquito net, you buy your mattress, you buy your cushion, and then you sleep. I said, no, guys. This was not the deal. I'm not. So it was a lot of stress. We finally end up to buy everything, carry all the things on the 3rd floor, and we were 3 of us plus other 2 people from Austria. And as soon as I finished, to do this bed, they told me, oh, by the way, at 1 o'clock we have to be down, sit, because there is the token given to get inside of. I said, what? Yeah, 1 o'clock we have to be there in line waiting for a token that is given, and the token is deciding the way in which people get inside. So I have to Swami's darshan. And Swami usually come around 3 o'clock. I said, no, but you gotta be kidding me. You want me to stay 2 hours sit in this hot weather? You could not walk. The cement was just, you could have fried, potatoes there, right? And I said, you know what? You go ahead and I'll follow you eventually. So they went there, and what I did, I didn't say anything. I left the ashram and I went looking for alcohol, right? So I was walking, and I would say, whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. I didn't speak English, right? So, but I would say, whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. And so a guy that he was like, so 1993 is, when I got there, first of all, I thought that I was in Rome, because at that time there were 2,000 Italian, okay? So 1993 is very famous because it's called the Westerner here. So Swami gave the course on summer shower, you know, the course of Indian culture to Westerner. It was the only year that he took only 8 students and the rest were only Westerners, right? And he called many, many Westerners. He was calling each day. We stood there 5 days. Each day he was calling morning and day, 2 or 3 groups, large groups of Westerners, right? So, but anyway, I went out without saying anything and sneaked out the ashram, and I was looking for alcohol. And then there was this Indian guy that he was the guy that was providing cigarettes, providing eggs, all the things that you are not allowed to. So this Indian was the guy that was given to the Western, all these things, right? And he told me, oh, go, as soon as the ashram is over, you know, you will find a little road. That side road takes you to the Muslim village, and in the Muslim village there is the only liquor store around, so try there. So I went there, and I didn't have even rupees, nothing, you know. I had, you know, some dollars. I went inside, and these people look at me as like, who is this guy? I said, whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. And they're like, huh? Whiskey, whiskey. And I was dressed white, so I was dressed white already, you know, I was in the uniform, right? So he knew that I was coming from Sathya Sai Baba, but I was in the Muslim area, and I was asking for alcohol. So he thought that I was entrapping here, you know. He thought that I was, you know, because they knew that they could not sell alcohol to the Swami's devotee, right? So and I was white dressed, and I was asking for alcohol, and this guy, this Muslim, was like, ugh. Whiskey, 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 and then I show him $100, whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. And he gave, I don't know how much I paid, of course. So from the liquor store to the road, it was like maybe 500, 600 yards. I finished the bottle. Half liter, I finished the bottle of whiskey. And then as soon as I turned the corner, there was a huge banyan tree. And I started, you know, feeling the alcohol. And I said, well, let me get down here, stretch out, and I went out, right? All of a sudden, I fell out, you know, I fainted, and I lost consciousness. And at a certain point, I woke up, and my 2 friends, they were carrying me, you know, by the way, they were looking for me, you know. And Swami was about to come in. So unfortunately, they actually had second lane, but because of me, they lost the fantastic position, you know, looking for me, you know, for the stupid guy. And so finally they found me, and they carried me inside. I mean, they came me back on the ashram, and the watchman didn't want to allow me to get in. He said, no, drunk, no, nay. No, friend, no, nay, drunk. So finally they allowed me to get in. And as soon as I get in, it was super crowded. We could not pass. So I don't know if anybody of you have been in Whitefield, but Whitefield has very small ashram, and back then there was like a tree. There was the hall was covered with green onduline, and then there was a tree, and then there was a small space where people were actually laying down to get the token. And when we get in, it was so crowded that we could not pass by. We just could get in, but not go after the watchman, you know, the watchman position. And when we got there, as soon as we got there, the music started, and Swami was coming. So there was a lot of commotion, you know, people moving. And I had such a strong headache. I was dying. I was like, oh my God, let me go to sleep. But I couldn't even move. I was like this, right? And people moving, and then and so I see this thing big. I was very far away, but I saw this thing with huge afro coming out, and I will never forget that as soon as he walked in the middle of the podium, I start crying. crying, crying, and crying. And I was like, you cannot do that. You are in the middle of the people. Are you crazy? You know, you're a man. You cannot cry. And I was trying to keep my all back. I was hiding. I was like, no, I can't believe I cry. I can't believe. And I'm crying, crying, crying. And then Swami went to the podium and he started delivering a discourse. Then there was a simultaneous translator, but of course we didn't speak any single word of English. And I was like, he was not, and he sounds kind of, you know, upset, right? And I was crying, 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 crying. Then finally the discourse is over. And then this music starts, what I end up to know to be bhajans, right? And when the bhajans start, I start crying even louder. I was like, oh my God, I wanted to go and disappear in the middle of these people because I was crying, 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 crying. And then finally, you know, there was the Harati, what I end up to know that it was the Harati. And everything was over. And I couldn't believe I didn't have any more headache. And I had a sensation that was like, I didn't feel that way like since that I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. I was in peace. I didn't have the mind of, you know, when you have any thought, it was like a balloon. It was like floating. My mind, I don't know, I couldn't even believe that I was in India. It didn't matter anything to me, you know, I was in such a peace. And so my friend came and was like, so what do you think? What do you think? So, come on, leave me alone. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? You look good. I said, leave me alone. But you look good, you look good. So let's go to dinner. And I did that because I didn't want to tell them that they were right? But I felt that something was there, right? So the following morning, they told me, 4 o'clock, let's go down. Let's go down. Darshan. So again, what time darshan? 7 o'clock. But it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, no, but Nagar Sankirtan. Yeah, we are going around walking and singing. I said, first of all, I don't sing. Second of all, it's 4 o'clock. And third, I don't care. You go. And so, okay, stay there. And so they went. At 5:30, I was like, oh, okay. So I look around and I see all these lunatics go around this village and singing and dancing. I was like, who are these people? What do I do here? You know, what am I doing here, right? So I said, well, let me look for a coffee. So I went downstairs, but nothing was open, you know, because it was Sunday, and nothing was open until after the Nagar Sankirtan, you know. So I cannot even get a coffee. Oh my God. So, well, I said, well, let me sit. I sit on the floor, and then people of the Nagar Sankirtan came back and start lying up on the floor to get the token. And back then, it was so nice because you can bring in books, pens, cameras, recorders. I mean, everything was allowed. So, you know, Swami, you know, was just unbelievable, close to everybody. He was walking, you know, I remember, you know, he was walking even outside the cover, and he was, you know, with the women, you know, a lot of time. He was always coming out from the women's side, but he was spending a lot of time with the man. And so I remember that the women were always jealous, but Swami, you know, he was always pretending not to go, and all of a sudden he was going out and coming back and then staying in the middle of the women. And all these women much more disciplined than men, close the parenthesis because man is a mess. But all these women so happy. And I remember that day was the second day, so first morning, darshan morning, and I got to end up to be on the second square. So this is the middle, women one side, men on the right side, which is opposite in Prashanti. In Prashanti, men on the left and women on the right, but in Vrindavan is the opposite. And I was on the second square, so there was one square, second square next to the center. And I was on the second line, so I said, well, I'm going to see this Swami very close. So Swami came out, and then, of course, you know, the music, and all these people, all these letters and letters and letters, and, you know, and as soon as he came out, I started crying again, and crying and crying and crying, and I couldn't stop, right? And this was for all the time that then he came out. During these days, you know, an Italian devotee took pity of us. He understood that we didn't know anything about Swami, and so he said, why don't we rent some bicycle, and then we go on the countryside, and we are gonna study a little bit of Swami literature, so that you get familiar about what Swami is all about, because you people don't really know anything, right? And so I remember that he had Premavaini in Italian, and so we were renting this bicycle, and we were going in the country field, which was beautiful. I mean, if you go right now, it's a totally different things. But back in the days, you know, there was only the ashram, these little 10, 12, 20 little homes, a big field for track and some sports, and just, you know, a lot of, you know, agriculture places, right? So it was very beautiful. And so we were going there, and he was teaching us. So we were doing something like study circle, you know, we were reading the book, and then he was explaining what all these things was all about. And this guy was telling me, you got to write a letter to Swami. You got to, you got to. I said, look, I don't write any letter to Swami. Swami to me is not God. It's God for you. I'm very happy that you find your God. I don't care about God. I don't care about Swami. What do you think the Swami is? I said, well, maybe I think that he's a very high developed spiritual man, but it's not God. You know, God cannot be in human form, and so case closed. And he said, no, I can tell you, you know, my heart never fails. You are the one that really needs to write a letter to Swami. And this is something that he was telling me both in the morning and at night, because we also were doing the same thing after the darshan, right? It was March, so you had sun until maybe 7:30, 8 o'clock. So finally, one day he said, look, if you don't stop telling me what I have to do, I'm gonna rip your head off. You know, you don't see me, but back in the days, I was about 82 kilograms, kind of muscular. You don't want to have a fight with me, believe me. And so the guy said, well, you know, listen to my advice. You must write a letter to Swami, right? So in any event, one night, this was the sixth night, I went to bed. I mean, I went to sleep, and as soon as I was closing my eyes, I saw Swami's face in my forehead. I could not close my eyes but see Swami's face, and I was really disturbed. I was like, you know, leave me alone. Within myself, I was like, leave me alone. What do you want from me? You know, I've been already here. It's 5 days that I'm here. I've been good that I've been resisting. Leave me alone. And this was going on, you know, at the ashram. 9 o'clock, light goes off. So from 9 o'clock, he was not leaving me alone. He was persisting. I had this face in my forehead, and I couldn't close my eyes, and I was very disturbed. And I was smoking. You are not supposed to smoke into the ashram, right? But there was a terrace, so it was going all the way up, and it was back and forth, and smoking, because I was very disturbed. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, I said, okay, enough. Okay, you want me to write you this damn letter? I'm gonna write you this letter. So I went with like a torch. I found a piece of paper, and in Italian I said, Dear Sai Baba, you claim to be God. To me, you're just, you know, somebody with special power, but you're not God. But it's very easy for you to show it to me. These are the things that I want for you to show me that you are God, right? And you know, when you go grocery shopping, right? Orange, banana, potatoes, yeah, so same thing, right? So I said, 3 words, this is what I want from you if you really are God. And I asked him nine things. I remember very well exactly what I've asked, and I asked him 9 things. And then it was like a nasty piece of paper. It was really, I feel ashamed even thinking about the kind of condition of that paper. And even the envelope. But I put it together, and then it was already time to go down for the darshan, right? So I didn't sleep at all. We, like back in the days, you were wearing scarves, because Swami was usually inviting for interview groups that were at least 10 or 12 people, and all these people, women and men, they were wearing scarf of the same color, so that they were showing Swami, hey Swami, we are a big group, right? So we had our, I will never forget, our sky color scarf, and we were like, my friend was like, we are gonna get an interview. I was like, forget about it. But we went down for the darshan, and we got in 3 different positions, so that whoever was getting lucky was giving the letter, so that Swami would have picked the letter, right? Because by the day we were already experts. 6 days after, we already knew all the tricks of the ashram and how to get the things, and so we did, we get split, and one of my friends get inside of number 1, So he was like, where the podium is Swami is, he was the second one, so like there. So he could not miss him. So we gave, like all the letter to him. Swami come out, and guess what? He doesn't get into the women. No, he goes all the way in the middle, outside, the covered part, where, like people have to move because they were sitting there, like outside, where he was walking. And he spent a great deal of time talking with people there, and within myself I was like, I knew he is not going to get the letter. And he was spending time there and there, and it was like, I know he's not going to get the letter. I know, it's, that's just, I know. So he spent time and time. And finally, he walks in the middle, and I said, oh, it's coming. And I was in, like, on the second, so I had 2 square in the middle, and I was really in a bad position. So they said, well, thank God that I didn't get the letter myself, because there was no chance. But he passed by, and he stopped, and he started talking to some Russian. They were like 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's where Swami is. There was 4 men, and I was there, right? And he was talking to the Russian, but it seems to me that he looked at me, right? So he was talking to a guy there, but he was looking at me. And so I was like turning my side, right? And he was looking like this, and within myself, I was trying not to cry, right? But then, of course, I started crying. And as soon as Swami saw that I was crying, he started laughing, right? It was like a smile. And then he went down. And then when he was close to my friend started giving the letter. He turned back and he said, I knew. I was crying, but I said, I knew he's not going to get the letter. And he went in the middle of the women and talked to these women. You coming from how many? Oh, go, please, blah, blah. And then he went out from the women. And I said, oh, he's not gonna get the letter. All of a sudden, he comes back, he wants all the way, and he gets in front of my friend, and he says, in the moment that I had the thought, I knew, he's done, he's going back, no letter. He went all of a sudden back from the women, go in the middle, go all the way down, and he went in front of my friend, and he said, like this, and he picked only the letter from my friend. Nothing, all day, all darshan in the morning, only picked 3 letters. Mine and the letters of my 2 friends, right? So then darshan in the afternoon, and the following morning, Swami left for Kodaikanal. And all of a sudden, so the promise was 6 days, and he was 6 days without having to protest with my friend. Swami left. So the time was for us to go and have party, right? Okay. So in 1 year from that time, I got all the things that Swami, that I put on the letter, right? So I end up to be in the United States, a place that I had no idea. I never had the American dream. Actually, I never liked the United States of America. I end up to get married. I was like, and so when I came here, I didn't speak a single word of English. I didn't know what to do in my life because I had to invent myself. I couldn't do, not being able to speak, I couldn't do what I was doing in my country. My country was a sales rep. So how can you possibly be a sales rep if you're not able to speak with the people and present the product? So, and that was causing me a lot of kind of anxiety and depression, because all of a sudden I came from a situation where I was very popular, very famous, people knew me a lot, and all of a sudden I was here alone. And what happened, I started going to the Manhattan Center. And I'm very, very fond of the Manhattan Center because the Manhattan Center was actually the place where I started understanding something about Swami. And like I said, I end up to learn after like maybe 6 or 7 months. I was going each Monday and Thursday at the Manhattan Center, that Swami actually gave me all the things, but not only all of them, also in the sequence that I asked. And so what I want to say, and I'm concluding, is if we are here, all of you are here, is not because you wanted to, it's because He wanted you to be here. I never wanted to be in Swami's presence, but I end up to be selected. So we have always to remind ourselves that for some reason that we don't know, for some merit that we don't know, for whatever, we were not the one that selected or decided to go to God. He decided that we have to be close to Him, and then for some reason we have to be close to Him and having a relation to Him. And all that I can tell you is that I am trying myself the best that I can to behave in a way that is the closest possible in gratitude to Swami, because I don't follow the human value really for my development, which might happen to be something that is a collateral of practicing the human value. But for me to practice the human value is to give a token back of gratitude to Swami, to have changed my life, to have me, to give me this opportunity to learn the secret that is hidden within, because that's really, what the journey is learning that Swami is us, and Swami is with us, and Swami is always, always present. He's here in this very moment, and He's always with us. And like I said, for me, it's only just, I don't know really, people said, I'm a devotee of Swami. I'm not a devotee. I'm trying to be grateful to Swami. That's my effort. And I think that the best way for me to be grateful to Swami is to do at least a iota of what Swami have taught and Swami said during his life. With this I conclude, and I thank you for the opportunity that you gave me to share a little experience that I have with Sathya Sai Baba. Sai Ram.
Saram, before we begin the bhajans, a couple of announcements. So, most importantly, I think you would have seen the message about an Indian friend of ours, especially from our Sai family, requiring a bone marrow transplant as part of his treatment for leukemia. So Sister Sai Rao is conducting a bone marrow donation drive at the North Bergen Public Library next Saturday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So the thing about this is the most likely match is going to be found in the same genetic pool. So the more the Indian people can actually go and submit a sample, the better chance there is for a match to be found for Brother Girish. So we request all of you, please spread the word. It's in the North Bergen Public Library. We'll send out an email as well. We'll put it in the chat group as well. It's just a 15-minute job for you. I think it's even less. Very painless. They will just take a sample of your gum from the top of the mouth, I believe. Please do go and participate and donate. Even if it doesn't match Girish Bhai, it will hopefully serve to help someone in the future. So we request you all to go and participate, submit your samples, as well as spread your word. Spread the word that this is on 22nd, next Saturday, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. We'll send out the details in the email and phone as well. Yep. Sorry, anyone has any questions? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. 12 to 3 p.m.
And it's at the branch library on 21st Street and Kennedy Boulevard.
Okay. So I'm sorry, we got the laptop gone, so we wouldn't be able to display, but we'll send out the details in the email as well as we will put in the chat group. And the other announcement we have is our next month's service activity on first Saturday will be at Brother Kamesh and Sister Kiranmay's home. Anyone would like to volunteer, please let Brother Suresh know. Thank you. Yeah, and of course, thank you, brother, for the great talk. I think you went off the script, but I think that was part of the plan. So, thank you very much. It was, I mean, we've listened to you in the study circles, and we've listened to all the material you presented. But I was always curious how you came to Swami. What was the motivation? This is very, very enlightening because I've heard many stories like this of people, especially. I can truly appreciate and understand the cultural shock and the inner conflict that people from the West would have going into the Bangalore or the Parthi of the 80s and 90s. The noise, the dust. And it's just that question you said is like, why am I even here? What am I, an Italian or a Westerner, doing in Parthi or Bangalore in Brindavan in those dusty suburbs? I just want my coffee. I really liked. I can totally relate to that in the sense that.
But I can tell you one thing, that India for me is my place. People know. I mean, you have never been in India with me. But I can tell you that people call me a sadhu because I can sleep on the floor of of the station. I travel always second chair. I mean, I do things that. When I'm in India, people are like, sir, don't you like air conditioners? And no, when I'm in India, I'm in India. Yeah, really, like all those buses, like that don't have doors, don't have, I love it, but this is just because, but back in the days, that was a shock, really. But now for me, it's just, I love, as I told you, I will retire and live in India. I mean, I asked Swami didn't want me. In 2009, I was ready. I spent 1 year traveling India, and Swami twice told me, go back home, because I was ready, but it's going to happen soon. So
I guess, yeah, you've taken the message to heart in the sense, there's this famous saying, right, when you're in Rome, be a Roman. So we have a Roman now who, when in India, is an Indian more than the Indians here in this room.
And you told us the first visit, the experience about India, and when again you visit over there. How long the time between second and first visit?
I've been in India 21 times. I lived 1 year in India, 2009. I was in India in April of this year.
No, she's asking
99, 99 was the second time. I love it. And 2000, 2003, 4,
You
6,
changed
7,
after
8, 10, 11, 12,
You changed.
13. Yeah.
You changed.
Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you very much.
Sayonara.
महागणपति नमोस्तुते महागणपति मातङ्गवदना नमोस्तुते महागणपति नमोस्तुते आदिपूजित गणनाथा आदिपूजित गणनाथा
आदिपूजित
आनन्ददायक गणनाथा आनन्ददायक
गजानना
जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना
जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना
जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना
विद्या बुद्धि सर्वसिद्धि सुरञ्जना जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना जय हेरम्बा श्री जगदम्बा वन्दना जय हेरम्बा श्री जगदम्बा वन्दना एकदन्ता दयावन्द वन्दना एकदन्ता दयावन्द शुभानना मंगलदायक श्री विनायक वन्दना मंगलदायक श्री विनायक वन्दना जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना विद्या बुद्धि सर्वसिद्धि सुरञ्जना जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना जय हेरम्बा श्री जगदम्बा नन्दना एकदन्ता दयावन्द शुभानना मंगलदायक श्री विनायक वन्दना जय मंगलदायक श्री जय मंगलदायक श्री विनायक वन्दना जय श्री गणेश विघ्ननाश गजानना
कराया
गजानना गजानना
गजानना गजानना
प्रथम प्रार्थना श्री गणराया
प्रथम प्रार्थना श्री गणराया
लंबोदरा गणराया
लंबोदरा लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन लंबोदरा पार्वती नंदन शुभानना पार्वती नंदन शुभानना पार्वती नंदन शुभानना पशुपतितनया सिद्धिविनायक पशुपतितनया सिद्धिविनायक पशुपतितनया सिद्धिविनायक पशुपतितनया सिद्धिविनायक प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना पर्तिपुरीश साई गजानना पर्तिपुरीश साई गजानना पर्तिपुरीश साई गजानना हे शिवनन्दन शुभानना हे शिवनन्दन हे शिवनन्दन शुभानना शिवनन्दन लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानन लंबोदरा पार्वती नंदन शुभानना पार्वती नंदन शुभानना पशुपति तनया सिद्धिविनायक प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना प्रणवकारा शम्भो नन्दना पर्तिपुरीश साई गजानना शिवानन्दन शुभानना हे शिवानन्दन शुभानना लंबोदरा गणनाथ गजानना
जय लंबोदरा पाहि मां
लंबोदरा लम्बासुकर क्षमा
जय लम्बोदरा पाहि मां
जय लम्बोदरा पाहि मां
शरणागत रक्ष मां
शरणागत रक्ष मां
हे करुणानिधे पाहि मां श्री गणनाथ संरक्ष मां
श्री गणनाथ संरक्ष मां
निज भक्ति मुदं देहि मां
निज भक्ति मुदं देहि मां
निज भक्ति मुदं देहि मां
भक्ति मुदं देहि मां
जय लम्बोदरा पाहि मां You take all the obstacles away, O Lord Gananatha. You take all the obstacles away, O Lord Gananatha. You give us happiness, you give us auspiciousness. You give us happiness, you give us auspiciousness. You take all the sorrows away, O Lord Gananatha. Emptiness, there is no loneliness. When we start off the day with your name, O Lord Gananatha. When we start off the day with your name, O Lord Gananatha. All the obstacles away, O Lord Gananatha.
I bow down at the feet of Ganesha. Down at the feet of Ganesha. Ganesha, Ganesha. Ganesha, Ganesha. Down at the feet of Ganesha. Ganesha, I pray you will clear my way.
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 Ganesha, down at the feet of Ganesha.
Down at the feet of Ganesha.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Baba.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Baba.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Sai.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Swami.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Baba.
Jai Ganesha, Sai Ganesha, clear my way to Baba.
Ganesha, Ganesha.
Ganesha, Ganesha.
Ganesha, Ganesha.
Ganesha, Ganesha.
सुंदर विनायका सुंदर सुंदर विनायका शुभ मंगलदायक विनायका शुभ मंगलदायक विनायका कोटि शुभमङ्गलदायक विनायक विघ्नकोटिहर विमल गजानन सकल विघ्नहर साई गजानन ईश्वरी नंदन पति गजानन ईश्वरी नंदन पति गजानन जय जय गणेश जय श्री गणेश 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 सुंदर सुंदर विनायक हसतो सद्गमया तमसो ज्योतिर्गमया मृत्योर्मा अमृतो गमया शांति शांति ओम जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वर ओम जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलदीना आश्रित कल्पलदीना आवद्वासना ओम जय जगदीश हरे माता पिता गुरुदेव मुनि अन्धयुनि सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति शांति शांति।
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
जय। परमं पवित्रं बाधाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिं परमार्थइष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं बाधाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि लीलाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि। Secret miraculous Baba's creation, flowing from His blessing hands, holy creation. परमं पवित्रं बाधाविभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीलाविभूतिं परमार्थइष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं बाधाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि लीलाविभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि।
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महरे ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिना। अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणिनां देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमायुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधम्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की
जय।